So things are looking good. I got rock house all but done except the doorway. I got all the other food I gathered. Plus, I got a muskox intact, hauled to camp. I am feeling on top of the world. Absolutely. I know I got the whole thing from here on, barring a broken leg or some other weird accident that never happens to me anyway. But this animal was extremely dry and tough. Most moose and sheep and bears in the north are loaded, even if their carcass is dry, they'll be loaded with fat in their body cavity. The kidneys will have big sheaths of fat around them. This thing had a little sliver of fat on each kidney. I mean, we're talking ounces, and some spider webbed in its digestive tract, a little wee bit. It was a dry animal, lean and dry, and it had such a traumatic death, and it just did. I don't care if anybody got a problem with that or not. Hunting mostly ain't pretty. You can have all your ethics, but at the end of the day, they mostly don't pan out. When they die in the chase like that, their adrenaline tends to make their meat tough. This was a tough, dry animal. I spent a lot of time boiling it down to some kind of state I could chew, and then it didn't have fat. Very little fat. So this is where my knowledge of the anatomy of big game really came in. All them years that I spent taking their hides off and cleaning their heads for, the trophy industry also showed me where the little hidden fat pockets are on animals that don't necessarily have a bunch of fat. There's a lot of fat on the head. There's a lot of fat in the nose. The brain's all fatty matter. All the joints, all the bone marrow. And of course, I'm a gut eater, which we learned clear back when I was doing fish and the handful of rabbits I got. The head and guts, bears eat the head and guts off fish when they get them. The cats eat the heads, and the owls eat the heads and guts off a small game when they get it, and then they can go on to get more. They'll eat it all if they're limited, but the head and the entrails is the most nutritious parts of most animals. It's just humans are too squeamish to eat them. So I ate this muskox entirely. I ate all this thing. Of course I ate its kidneys and its liver and its heart, and I didn't get the tongue because the bear ate it. Ate the brain, ate the eyeballs. I ate the eyeballs like chicken eggs. I boiled them one morning. Great big eyeball. They were great. And then there's big fat deposits behind each eyeball. And then you got the palate, the roof of the mouth of these animals. It's thick, it's big, it's fatty matter. All the joints, I would boil the joints down, crack the bones open to get the marrow out. The breastbone, the brisket is a fatty part of big game animals that's overlooked a lot. Made the utmost out of the brisket. The ears, I skunked the cartilage out of the ears actually, because I made a pouch out of its head for carrying ice. Worked out great for my water supply. It's way easier to melt ice than snow. Snow melts down into a little bit of water. Ice melts down into a lot of water. But when I took that cartilage out of the ears for the pouch, I ate that cartilage. The nose, the lips, the great big, the inside of the lips that I peeled off for the pouch process. I cooked all that down. And you could get a little skim of fat on your stew water every night if you put different body parts of that thing in with the meat. If you put straight meat in, all you're getting is a weak, you get the meat of course, but after that all you got is a weak broth. You have to have fat. So I literally ate that muskox from horns to hooves. And at the end I even ate the hooves. I diced them up and boiled them after I charred them in fire. We didn't throw none of that thing away. And this harkens back to old-timer days. People in the East has heard this. I don't know about people in the West, but the East Coast, the Eastern Appalachians raised hogs. A lot of poor people raised hogs. And you know, you think about a guy eating snakes and groundhogs and out of his garden all summer and maybe a few fish, and then in the fall he butchers 2 or 3 hogs that he raised up all summer, and they're fat and delicious. It was just like me with that muskox. They do not throw, in the old time days, nothing away. The old saying goes, they ate everything out off the hog except the squeal. You know, that whole hog got used, and I used that whole muskox. That's where pickled pig's feet and scrapple and all that comes from. They eat all that stuff. And I did the same thing with that muskox. Had to. He was a dry animal. Very dry. But he gave me the victory. So it turns out my bad spot became a good spot because of this one animal.